It's time for the Star Fox Assault review for the Gamecube. Here's the game I'm assuming that most people thought Star Fox Adventures would be, a true sequel to the style of Star Fox 64. However, there's more in this game than dogfights in the Sea of Stars, which some people like and some don't, so let's take a look. The story is about how alien lifeforms called aporoids are taking over organic bodies and machines all throughout space, and it's up to Fox and his crew to stop them. Throughout the game, you will play as Fox in various missions, which include flying around and blasting enemies in your R-Wing, rolling around on the surface in one of my brother's favorite, if not the favorite, final smash attack, a Landmaster. Stupid Falco, so cheap with his cheap Landmaster, virtually impossible to dodge on almost every stage. Anyway, and you'll also play as Fox in a third-person shooter view as he runs through levels on the ground. Each style of playing has its ups and downs, but for the vast majority, flying in your R-Wing is by far the best. The controls for flying are perfect, and that's one of the reasons the flying stages are the best. The controls for the Landmaster and while running on the ground can be very annoying and frustrating. It's hard to turn for the latter two, and aiming is a pain. Plus, there's no lock-on for either the Landmaster or Fox's guns, which makes trying to kill off enemies really frustrating to do. You'll use the control stick to move and the C-stick to look around while in both ground modes. It's not impossible to figure out, but the first few types of these missions will try your patience. The flying stages are so much fun though, especially the rare non-railed missions. So many enemies to blow up, upgrades for your blaster, and the action rarely stops. Too bad there aren't enough of them, as there are more ground levels than there are dogfights. The Landmaster and ground levels are non-linear. You'll go around and shoot off enemies and complete missions such as, well, killing off a number of specific enemies or trying to take down energy shields. With the ground levels, you'll find various weapons which will help take down more powerful enemies than others. There are a couple of times where you will shoot down enemies while riding on the wing of an R-Wing, which is pretty cool, and I would have liked it better if this was implemented more in the game. The graphics are pretty good. Nothing too special, but not bad either. The animations were okay, however I think the animation in Star Fox Adventures was better. The voice acting was good for the most part, however I think Fox could have been a little bit more enthusiastic. There is one thing. For each mission, the crew will tell you the objective at the beginning of the level, and then they will tell you what to do again like 5 to 15 seconds later, and again, and again, and again! Can you see how annoying this can get?
Alright, at the next light you're going to want to take a right.
Alright.
You'll take a right at the next light.
I know, I heard you.
When you see the stoplight, you're going to want to take a right.
I know. You just told me that.
If you see a stoplight, you
Hey.
should take a right.
What are you doing? What are you doing? I know.
There'll be a right turn at the
Babe,
stoplight.
I know!
When you get to this intersection, there'll be a right.
What are you doing? I know to go right. Here's the intersection. I know to go right. I'm gonna go right. You just don't have to tell me each single time. I'm gonna turn right.
Sweetie,
What?
you just missed our turn.
The difficulty can be set to easy, medium, or hard. Easy is really easy, so I only recommend it to younger players. However, because the controls of the two ground levels can be so frustrating, medium and hard difficulty can turn into evil and death modes. Another disappointment is the length of the game. I beat it in just over 3 hours. That's right, 3 hours. That is way too short for this type of game. However, because there are achievements you can obtain by going back to certain levels, this gives the game replayability. The boss fights were way too easy, except for the very last one. All the others, though, were a cakewalk, which was disappointing. However, they are more difficult on a higher difficulty, of course. Hooray for logic! There's a 4-player multiplayer mode, which, even though you can play in any of the 3 style modes, it's just not that fun for some reason. Even the dogfights got dull. There weren't enough variables to make versus mode interesting, let alone exciting. Star Fox Assault is a pretty good game. Even though the controls for the majority of the game can be annoying and frustrating, it isn't impossible to get used to them, and the action in each level rarely ceases. The graphics and replayability are nice as well. The game could have been much longer though, and it would have been better, in my opinion, if there were more R-Wing stages, because that's the bulk of the fun you get out of this game, and the multiplayer mode wasn't that exciting. It needed to have something to boost the atmosphere of the game. Overall though, it still is a good game with a pretty good story as well. If you didn't like Star Fox Adventures because you wanted that game to be the style of Star Fox 64, I think you'll have a pretty fun time with this game. This game gets a 3.5 out of 5, with a title of good.